today we're going to be focusing on knowing how to solve square root equations. So I'm going to write this down a little bit bigger down here. We've got 2y minus 3 equals the square root of 3y squared minus 10y plus 12. All right, when we're solving this, what's going to be the very first thing, very first step? What do you guys think? Yeah, we're going to square both sides of the equal sign. We're going to square this side, we're going to square this side. Now one of them is very, very easy to square. Whenever you square something inside of a radical, all you have to do is just bring down whatever you have inside of the radical. Now this one's a little bit trickier. We've got to do 2y minus 3 times 2y minus 3. So we got to go back in time and remember the FOIL method. Okay? That FOIL method is what? First, outside, inside, last. So we do first, that's the first terms. 2y times 2y is 4y squared. Outside, 2y times a negative 3 is a negative 6y. Inside, negative 3 times 2y, negative 6y. And the last terms, negative 3 times negative 3 is a positive 9. When we combine all those, we get 4y squared minus 12y plus 9 equals, we're just dropping this down, 3y squared minus 10y plus 12. All right, now whenever we have a y squared and we have a y squared, now we're dealing with quadratics. What do we need to set all of our quadratics equal to? Is that in? 0, you're right. We've got to set them all equal to 0. So I'm going to take all of this and move it over to the left. Why am I moving everything to the left? Because that's a 4y squared, and that's going to make it a lot easier. I don't want a negative y squared. I can deal with it, but I'd rather it be positive than negative. So here's what I want you to do. Put minus 3y squared on this side. Okay? Put minus 3y squared on this side. That gives me what? 1y squared. How do we get rid of a negative 10y? We add 10y. We're going to add 10y to this side. We're going to add 10y to this side. And that gives us a negative 2y. Then we're going to take away 12 from this side. Take away 12 from this side. 9 minus 12 is negative 3. And what do we have all over here? We have a 0 and a 0 and a... So everything's equal to 0. Yeah, we're done. We've made everything equal to 0. Now that I have this, what do I want to do if I can? I'd like to try to factor this guy. So we're going to try to factor this quadratic equation. So when you're factoring, you're looking for two numbers that multiply together to equal that final number, which is a negative 3, but those same two numbers add up together to equal a negative 2. So what two numbers multiply together to equal a negative 3, but they add together to equal a negative 2? 1 and negative, you're right. 1 times negative 3 is negative 3, and 1 plus negative 3 is negative 2. So here's what I want you to do. Put y plus 1 and y minus 3 equals 0. Okay? Now these aren't the final answers. These are considered to be the factors. So we got to figure out what number would I plug in there to make it equal to 0. So what number plus 1 is 0? Negative 1. And what number right here plugged in to that number minus 3 is 0? A positive 3. So here, put a solution set. The solution set is negative 1 and 3. Now, if both of the answers work, then they both can be solutions. But we got to be able to check these to see which one of these works. So we're going to, after you get your solutions, what should you do? You need to check your solution. That's the number one thing you need to do. So we're going to teach you how to check it. So write that down, and then we'll show you how to check it. So now we're going to go ahead and check these answers. So I'm going to go back up to our original equation. Okay? I can always go back. So right now, what numbers am I going to plug in here and here? I'm going to plug in a what? -1 and a 3. So can you guys go to your graphing calculators if you would? Okay. So 2 times -1 minus 3. If I plug in a -1, that equals to a what? -5. Okay. So we're going to go back over. See where it says square root? So now I'm going to go into my calculator. I'm going to take second square root. I'm going to type in a 3, open parentheses, -1 squared. Then what? Minus 10y? Minus 10, open parentheses, -1. And plus 12. Now, the interesting thing is, when you evaluate a square root, what can you never, ever, ever get inside of a square root? You can never get a negative number. So what does this actually equal? This one equals a 5. When you plug in a -1 here, what does that equal? -5. So does -1 work in this particular equation? So -5 is definitely not what? Definitely not equal to a +5. So in our solution set, -1 does not work. So that is considered to be what's called what? Extraneous solution. That's an extraneous solution. Okay. Now watch what I'm going to do to check the other number. The other number was what? A 3. So I'm going to go back to my calculator. I'm going to scroll up right here. And instead of a -1, what am I going to type in its place? Just a 3. That gets me a 3. I'm going to scroll up, grab this right there. Inside of this parentheses, what am I going to type in? 3. And over here, I'm just going to type in right here a 3. Press enter. What do you get? 3. So when you plug it in, it works. Okay? So what does that mean? Our final answer is what? 3. So I'm going to put y equals 3. That's what I'm going to type in to check it. All right? By the way, have we proved that our answer is correct now? Would you say? Yeah. All right? So we got that. Now, by the way, remember I said Desmos? Check this out, everybody. Go to Desmos. All right? Go to Desmos right now. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at it. Okay? I want you guys to type in 2, instead of 2y, type in 2x minus 3, like that. Type in 2x minus 3. So instead of it saying 2y minus 3, do 2x minus 3. Okay? And then in Desmos, what I want you to do is type in the square root. So we've got to find the square root symbol. And we're going to type in 3x squared. What was it? Is it minus 10x? Okay, so instead of minus 10y, I'm gonna put minus 10x, and then what is it? Is it plus 12? All right, check it out. Do you guys see this graph and this graph? Do you see the point of intersection? Where do they intersect? At what x value do they intersect? Right there. We'll see if you guys understand what I'm saying. Yeah. So right here, at this point of intersection, that was our answer. The y value is not the answer, it's the x value. Now what did I do in Desmos that was a little bit different? I did what? I changed the y value to an x value. And I saw where those two intersected. Okay, that's how you can check your answer to make sure. Now by the way, if you look at it, how many places does this graph intersect? It just intersects at what? One place. That point. That's the only point where it intersects. Okay? Alright. Here we go. Here's the next one we're going to do. So I'm going to give you a chance to write it right now. I'm going to write it down. You guys write it down. I want you guys to write down square root of 3z squared plus 16 equals the square root of 2z squared minus 8z. I want you to write that down right now. All right, first step. What are we going to do? Boom. Square both sides. Square this side. Square this side. 3z squared plus 16 equals 2z squared minus 8z. Okay? Just so you guys, when you have a radical equal to another radical, whatever's inside of this radical will equal whatever's inside that radical. Now, we have another quadratic. How do I know it's a quadratic? Because it's a z squared. So what do we need to do? Set everything equal to 0. All right, so we're going to take away 2z squared. We're going to take away 2z squared. Okay. We're also going to do one more thing. We're going to add 8z to this side, and I'm going to add 8z to this side. But notice, we can't combine those. Those are not like terms. Okay, so what do we have left? 3z squared minus 2z squared is a z squared. Then we have an 8z plus a, and that's all equal to 0. So remember, these right here, these are not like terms. That becomes a z squared. This zeroes out. This zeroes out. And we can't combine those. But this is how you write it in descending order. You always go from 2 to z to the first to no z's at the end. Or just a constant at the end. Now this one's a very, very easy one to factor. It's a sum of squares. Okay? Easy one to factor. Everybody should be able to figure out two numbers that multiply together to equal 16, but those same two numbers added together equal 8. So what numbers have to go there? 4. That's right, 4. 4 times 4 is 16. 4 plus 4 is 8. So we're going to put what? X plus 4 and x plus 4. And what is, right here, the number that you can plug in to make those equal to 0? What's going to be our final answer? -4. Well, this better work, because if it doesn't, that means there's not a solution. Okay, so this one better work. Okay, so how can we check to see if it actually is going to work? So we're saying our final answer is a -4. So go to your graphing calculator. Okay, go to your graphing calculator. We're going to clear this out. I'm going to hit second square root. I'm going to type in a 3 parentheses -4. I'm going to square it plus 16. And what is that equal to? 8. And then over here, I'm going to take the square root right there, that one. Square root. I'm going to type 2 open parentheses -4 squared. And that's what? Minus 8z. So minus 8 open parentheses -4. Press enter. And what do we get? We get another 8. So since these work, what number am I going to type in? I'm going to type in a. All right. One second. Where is it? Where's mine? I'm going to type in. Oh, I'm going to type in a -4. Typing in a -4 for my answer choice. Okay, because that was the solution that worked. When we plugged in the calculator, it was both of them are equal to 8, but the number that we plugged in was a -4. Okay. All right. Here we go. So I'm typing in -4. Press enter. Got it. Okay. 2 more problems and we're done. Okay. Now, can you also type it into Desmos and see where those graphs intersect? You could also go to Desmos and see where those graphs intersect. So I'm going to show you real quick how to do it in Desmos for the last problem. The square root of, what was it, 3. I'm going to type in 3x squared. What should I put after that? What was it? Help me out. Plus 16? All right. Plus 16. Oh. Plus 16. All right. And the other one was 2x squared. What was after the 2x squared? Help me out. Minus 8x? Minus 8x? All right. Now, I don't know if you guys can see this. These are the two graphs. Does anybody see right here what pops up on the screen? -4. That was your answer. That's where they intersected. Okay. All right. 2 more problems and we're done. Here we go. This one is the square root of 53 plus 5z all over 7 equals 2. By now, you guys should know that we're going to do what to both sides? We're going to square both sides. Okay? Why do we square both sides? To get rid of the radical. So what do we have left? 53 plus 5z over 7 is equal to, this is going to be a little bit different here. Instead of just writing the number 4, because 2 squared is 4, I want you to write 4 over 1. Okay, 4 over 1. Why do I want you guys to write 4 over 1 there? Because what are we going to do next? We're going to cross multiply. That's going to help us out. Okay? So when you think of the number 4, I also want you to think of the number 4 over 1. Why am I putting it as a ratio? Because this is in a ratio format. It's in a fraction form. So I'm putting that into a fraction. 7 times 4 is 28. Okay. So now it's just an Algebra 1 problem. All we got to do is take away 53 from this side and take away 53 from this side. Okay. What is 28 minus 53? Yes, 28 minus, what is it? Negative 25 is right. Okay. Equals 5z. That zeroes out. That becomes a negative 25. I'm just bringing down the 5z. So what's the last step? Divide both sides by 5. So what does z have to equal? Negative 5. So what would I have to plug in right here? I have to plug in a negative 5. Okay? Which, when we do that, if you took 53 and you plug in a negative 5 right there, that gets you minus 25 over 7, all inside of a radical. We know that 53 minus 25 is 28. 28 divided by 7 is 4. What's the square root of 4 equal to? 2. That's how you can check it in the calculator. So we know our answer does work. Our answer is negative 5. We'll go ahead and type that in. All right. Last problem. All right. You guys are going to be working on your own. Z squared plus 6z plus 3 equals 3z. Horrible 3. Good job again. 3z plus 1. Alright, first step, to your right, we're going to square both sides. So this one right here just becomes z squared plus 6z plus 3 equals. Now this one's a little bit trickier. This is like the first problem that we did. What do we have to multiply together? 3z plus 1 and another what? 3z plus 1. So we have to do the FOIL method once again. 3z times 3z is 9z squared. 3z times 1 is 3z. 1 times 3z. 3z. And 1 times 1 is 1. So when we multiply those two binomials together, what do we finally get? We get 9z squared plus 6z plus 1. And that's all equal to z squared plus 6z plus 3. Alright, so now we have to set everything equal to 0. So you see how we have more z squareds on the right side than we do the left side? So now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take away z squared from this side, and I'm going to take away z squared from this side. I'm going to take away 6z from this side, and I'm going to take away 6z from this side. Alright, I'm going to do what? I'm going to take away a 3 from this side. I'm also going to take away a 3 from this side. Okay, so what happens here? That zeroes out, that zeroes out, those zero. These are all additive inverses, all right? They all zero out. What do we have left standing? We have 0 equals what? 8. Z squared, good. Ooh. Those zero out, right? All right, that's 2. Interesting. Is there a factor that's both common to an 8 and a 2? What number goes into an 8 and a 2? 2. We're going to factor out a 2. If I factor out a 2, what do I have left? I have a what? 4z squared minus 1. Now, I'm not sure if you guys recognize this or not, but this is a difference of squares. Now, there's a pattern for a difference of squares. Here we go. Here's your pattern for a difference of squares. If you have a squared minus b squared, that always factors to a plus b and a minus b. So here's a very, very common one that you'll see for a difference of squares. Ready? X squared minus 1 factors to x plus 1 and x minus 1. Another very, very, very common one you could say is x squared minus 4, or you could say x squared minus 9. We'll stop with these examples. Hopefully you'll see a pattern. They're very, very easy to recognize. That's going to be x plus 2 and x minus 2. This would be x plus 3 and x minus 2. Those are all examples of, what did I say they were? Difference of squares. The more you do it, the more you recognize it. Automatically, I saw this and I recognized it as a difference of squares. What's the square root of 4? 2. So we're going to put a 2z plus 1, because the square root of 1 is 1. This is going to be 2z minus 1. All right. So now we have two factors here. We have this factor right here, and we have this factor right there. Okay? We got to figure out what number can I plug in here and what number can I plug in there to set them equal to what? Set them equal to 0. You're not sure? What should you do? You should set them equal to 0 and solve for z. Okay? So this would be 2z equals negative 1. This would be 2z equals positive 1. If you did what? Subtract 1 from both sides, or add 1 to both sides. All right, so the final step. What would I do to solve for z right here? What's the final step? Divide both sides by 2. Right. And so we get z could equal a negative 1/2. Over here, we're going to do the same step. Divide both sides by 2. Z could also equal a positive 1/2. So we have two possible solutions to our original problem. So write this down as a solution set. Negative 1/2, comma, 1/2. These are two possible answers. One of them, they both may work. One of them may work. Maybe they both don't work. Okay? So right now, what are we going to do now? We're going to check our answer. Let's go back over here. Let's look at our original equation. All right? We'll clear all this out. Make sure you have that written down. We're going to check it now. Whew, that's a lot to check. So go to your calculator. All right? I'm going to take a screenshot of this real quick so we can go back and forth. So go to your calculator right now. Type in the square root symbol. Okay? I'm going to open up a parentheses, and which one we're going to type in? Let's type in negative 1/2 to start out. Okay, we're going to square it. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'll go back. Right now we're plugging in a negative 1/2 right here, and we're plugging it in right there. So help me out. So I'm going to put plus 6, open parentheses. What am I going to plug in now? Negative 1/2, good. 1 divided by 2, close parentheses. And then what am I going to add at the end? Yeah, plus 3. Okay, plus 3. And we're going to press enter. What's it say it's equal to? 0.5. Okay, let's check the other one. What are we going to plug in here? Right there for the z, what are we plugging in? That's right. So put 3, open parentheses, negative 1 divided by 2, minus 1. I believe it's minus 1. Oh, sorry, not minus 1. My bad. Plus 1. Uh-oh.
What does that equal to? Uh-oh. That one didn't work. Huh. Let's go back up and do one little thing. What was our other solution? Not negative half what? Jacob, what was our other solution? Yeah, so I'm going to go over here and just delete. Let's try the other one. Delete. Okay, let's press enter. Okay, let's go back up here. Instead of having a negative 1/2, what am I going to do? I'm going to go over here, delete that little negative sign. Doop. Yay! They match. If they match, we found an answer that works. So one of these answers works, and one of these answers doesn't work. Okay, so let's go back to our little final answer here. Very good. So one of these, that one doesn't work. So what do we call that answer again? That's right. That's an extraneous solution. Did we do all the math correctly? Yes. But sometimes answers don't work when you plug them in, especially when you're dealing with square root equations. This is the only answer that works. Okay? So that's what I want you guys to do before you type in your answers. I want you guys to test them and then type them in. Okay? So what am I going to type in to the old... Let's see here. Let's go back here. There we go. We're going to type in 1 divided by 2. Cross our fingers and toes and... well... and we got 100%. Okay? So that's what you guys are going to be doing today. Alright? So why don't you guys go ahead and try to do these on your own. Okay?